1935, the Lions win the NFL championship. The Detroit Tigers take the World Series. The Red Wings bring home Lord Stanley's Cup. Joe Louis begins his rise to world domination. This transforms the Motor City into Detroit, City of Champions.
All right, there we go. Crack of the bats. And we are off and running another episode of Detroit, City of Champions, episode 102, I believe we're up to now.
Number 102, man.
We've been rocking and rolling through the free world.
I don't know. I want to know leave a note in the comments if the viewers are missing that Death Star intro that we had last week.
Yeah, the Imperial March.
I love
That's just because we got the special lighting in the studio.
I love it. That's what I said.
Ramping it up, trying to make it look good.
It was so hype though, man.
Yeah,
we open up and we're in the Death Star.
We had to wait until we get that.
We're still in the Death Star. We just don't have the Imperial March going.
That's right. Well, we do have fine people that listen, and we thank them. Thank each and every one of you for giving a listen. Do this for us right now. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, thumbs up, follow, collect, whatever it might be, wherever you're listening. Do all the podcast things in all the podcast places, and connect with us that way. So looking forward to just you being able to catch up on all the previous episodes. Yeah. And this is a big time for Detroit. Everybody's pumped and psyched about the Lions.
Oh, I'm psyched. I am super psyched.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Dude, you don't have any. I'm telling you, get on the hype train now.
I'm happy.
Don't let it pass you by.
As soon as Campbell got the gig, I was as happy as a clam because he was super positive energy.
Oh, he's awesome. Me too.
I love it. I love the positive energy.
Well, my little story with Campbell when he arrived was that I was sitting there, the previous regime, the guys that came from New England, I couldn't stand those guys.
Right, yeah.
And they came out and they're just for, I don't know, I'm not going to list the reasons why. I just couldn't stand them. And I barely watched any Lions football. I've watched Lions my whole life, don't get me wrong. I've watched it. I remember Barry Sanders. I used to watch every single game. Yeah. But there was definitely a lull. I'm like, I just don't have anything for these teams. I just can't stand them. And so anyways, when Campbell got hired, for me it was just like another ho-hum day. And but here's the thing is that
as soon as you heard him speak or saw him, you're
what it
God.
was he had that electric. This is almost like Detroit sports history, because if anybody doesn't remember this moment, it was only a couple of years ago, but the day he came up to the podium. He came up and he was like, "We're gonna, bite kneecaps off and bite their elbows off." Like he was going, he was wild. And the greatest, and I was like, and I didn't watch the press conference, but I saw it when it went viral, and I'm this Lions coach, what?
Yeah.
And so I would listen to it, and I'm like, and when I listened to it,
that reminds me of somebody.
But what I was saying was, I was like, this guy is awesome, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is so awesome. And then the next day, he was doing some interview somewhere or another, and they asked him. They said it might have been.
Do you want to tone that down a little bit?
Well,
He's like, hell no, I'm going to double down.
Yeah, well, they asked him. They said, well, what do you think about all these people laughing at you and all around the country? You're kind of a viral meme now, and he's like, I didn't say that yesterday for them. I said it to the Lions fans. I'm a Lions coach. I wasn't talking to them. And I was at that moment, I was watching that, whatever he was on. Yeah. And I all of a sudden, I was engaged. And I'm like, no, this guy is awesome, right? Yeah. So I was like, there is something different.
I love his energy. And
I've been following him.
How far he takes them.
And I've been following them in every I've been following everything since that moment. So,
but I'll believe it when I see it.
I'm telling you,
I'm not getting the tattoo yet.
Get on
that
the
guy
hype.
Who got the tattoo. He's
get
got
on
the
hype
world,
train, man.
The Lions Super Bowl champs 2024 tattoo already.
I'm sure there was a Lions Super Bowl 2023 and a 2022 as well. But but the thing is about it is the person who gets it on there the right year.
That's right.
Is gonna be legendary. The thing is, it's gonna be great though. Is then they're gonna pull up their arm and they're gonna roll up their sleeve just like a half inch. It'll say Lions Super.
The next year.
That's what I'm saying. At the bottom, they're gonna roll it up like a half inch, and it'll say Lions Super Bowl champ 2024. I got this 6 months before. They'll be roll up the rest of your sleeve, and they're gonna pull every year for crossed off for 20 years in a row. that would be the greatest tattoo ever. They have every other year, when they're measuring.
So close.
And when they show their tattoo, it's just gonna be on their wrist. It's a sleeve of all.
That's a sleeve
of all the years they crossed off.
But no, excited about that because they're celebrating the birth of the Lions, and we celebrate that too.
Heck yeah, we do.
Because we all the way from Portsmouth and the Spartans to their first year here, and the magic of 1935. So.
And we're going back there this year. Speaking of, we're going back there this year to do a show down in Portsmouth. It's gonna be seriously. Listen, if anybody that's listening to this right now or watching this, if you didn't see the last year's Portsmouth show, the show we did in 2020, I don't remember what episode number it was. That show that we did at Christmas was like, that was my favorite show we've ever done. And the people that the people down in Portsmouth are like our family.
Oh, they're wonderful.
They're like our brothers and sisters, and they are like, it's incredible. We go down there and like that. I talk to that, like somebody from Portsmouth, like almost every day, like almost every other day. It's crazy. We love
down there. It was
January,
right after it posted right after we were down there. It was December, mid December.
It was like early. I thought it was early
December.
Yeah.
And but his episode,
I think it was like December 9th because we were celebrating the 90th anniversary of Iron Man. I think that's when it was, December 9th.
Yeah, early December there. Yeah. And but the episode the audio episode went out on just after the first of the year, episode 81.
Okay, 81.
Put a link to it. Yeah. In the comments for folks, but yeah, excited.
But we're going back.
We're excited.
We're going
about that.
back.
Yeah,
and anybody that didn't see that show, of course we're saying, go back and watch the show, Mm-hmm. But this is what I'm saying, we're going, when we go back down there, we're going to be talking about this up, we're going to be hyping the show from now until we go down there, because I want as many people that are that are following this show and following what we're trying to do. I want as many people because you guys are like our family too. When I began this thing, I call this the City of Champions Project, the Detroit City of Champions Project.
Yes.
With the idea is, with the conceptual idea of the quote unquote the Detroit City of Champions Project, the conceptual idea was you have it's a test. It's a endeavor. It's a quest, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, yes. That you have the greatest season in the history of American sport.
Yes.
And it has been completely forgotten. There is before my books, there was nothing mentioned in any newspaper. The teams did not mention it
since 1935.
Since 1935, there was not a stitch of information. I will tell you all the source of information. There was a newspaper article by the Detroit News, but in that article, they did not mention that it was the all three major teams' first championships in the same season. Mm-hmm. They mentioned that the Lions were, that the teams were winning championships, but there was no definitive stance on when those championships occurred, and that they occurred in the same season within a 7-month stretch of time. Mm-hmm. So that's one scrap of information. And then the only other book or anything was a book by one of those Arcadia book series that you see that are like the sepia tone covers. It says Detroit City of Champions on the cover, but when you actually read the book, they don't the entire concept of the book is that they talk about Detroit athletes in the 1930s in general.
Right.
There is no specifics made anywhere in that book that takes a stand and says it was the Detroit City of Champions concept derived from the greatest season in American sport history. Nowhere in the book does it mention that it's the first champions for each team. It's a completely forgotten story.
Wow.
So the concept of the Detroit City of Champions project is we have this is a fact.
Because it was big in the paper. I got the 2-page spread.
At the time, sure.
In 35. And so, it was reported on. They had...
At the time, it was the biggest story in the country.
There's 20-some on here. Or whatever they mentioned, like
22 champions plus Joe Louis, because Joe Louis again was not the champion, and that's a lot of times that's how you will see, like when you're talking to somebody who's like, oh, I know all about this, and then they're like, yeah, Joe Louis was the champion in 1935, and you're like, no, he wasn't, but it doesn't diminish from what he did.
Oh my God, amazing! And then our series on Joe Louis, and again, so we have the series on the Lions, we have the series on the Red Wings, a series of these episodes on Joe Louis, which are great, and a couple of my favorite where we talked about Eddie Tolan and Willis Ward. Willis Ward, not one of the champions, but all part of that story. It's just again, I'm bitten by the bug.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say is that this concept with this Detroit City of Champions project is. What like this?
We're going to try to more people in.
It's a baseline fact that we have the greatest season in American sport history.
Yeah.
It is also a fact that 99% of people have no idea that this story ever happened.
Right.
So the project, the objective, the quest, whatever, is to reinsert this story back into its position of prominence, to factor it into the timeline of Detroit in general, and Detroit sports specifically,
Right.
into the timeline of that history, and to make it to the point where in the future, whenever somebody says, anything about Detroit or the Detroit sports or the teams, they like when somebody goes, "Hey, did you know that the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings won their first championships in the same season?" That they're gonna be like, "Of course, everybody knows that." That's like everybody, like, to make it so it is a mainstream, well understood concept, to reverse that number from being a 99% unknown to being 99% known, and it's like the greatest sports story ever told. And that's the objective. This is not like, we're just trying, this is a niche subject and we're just trying to talk about a little bit because we still hear the bats from the 1930s. No, our goal is nothing less than to bring this story back to its rightful position of prominence and to make this one of the most well-recognized sports stories that's ever been told. I mean, that's its position. That's its rightful position. Right. I mean, it's not like, we're not talking about some random golf tournament that happened and we're like, we just really like this story. No, this is the greatest season in American sport history.
And it
deserves a lofty position of prominence for which it has not yet achieved, and it is time for that to happen, and that is our ultimately our objective.
And I say it time and again that I love Detroit, and I love the influence that Detroit has had on the world. Be it music, be it the automotive industry. And the sports and the things that, because if you go and you listen to the podcast, and you'll hear things about Garwood, and you'll hear things about Walter Hagen, and how the things that Walter Hagen did shaped what golf is today.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The story just goes and goes, and that's that's why we're on 102 episodes.
And when I lived in Scotland for about 4 years, and when I was out there, people would ask me where I was from, and I would say Michigan, and they were like, "Where?" They'd never heard of Michigan, and I'd say, "I go, you know where Detroit is?" And they're like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, "Right near there, like that's our our major city."
That's
and so I would tell them that, and they were like, "Oh right, yeah, I know where that is." Like Detroit is more recognizable than the state. The state in which it's a worldwide famous city, and this is a story. One of the great. I mean, how can you argue that this is one of the top 5.
Right.
Got to be one of, and I'm just putting it out there as a general number. Like maybe like you put me to the test, and I'll put a case. It's either top 1 or 2 greatest stories in Detroit history of all time.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely in the top 5. What 4 stories? Name 5 stories that are ahead of this in the entirety.
You got the Jimmy Hoffa story.
Well, yeah, but is that? I mean, that's a very well known story, but is it greater? Is it a better?
Yeah.
Or more
well, no, I'm just saying it's
story?
a well known.
Yeah,
story.
yeah. But as I'm saying, like the City of Champions story is up in the category of Henry Ford.
Oh yeah,
right. It's up in the category of Motown. I mean, this is that's where you got to go to that's the caliber. But
people don't know about it.
And imagine, that's why I like to play this like sort of inversion game, which is imagine that the situation is reversed. Okay, imagine that everybody.
Picture, if you will.
Well, imagine everybody's heard about the City of Champions story.
Okay.
I mean, everybody knows about the City of Champions, but imagine nobody's ever heard of Henry Ford. Imagine nobody's ever heard of Henry Ford, yet Detroit is still recognized as nothing's changed. We're still like the motors capital, like the auto, the motor city, and Detroit's well known like for car production and all this stuff. But nobody has ever heard of Henry Ford. And instead of doing the City of Champions show, we're talking about Henry Ford, right? Then, so that the concept, it's the same concept, which is a foundational element to one of Detroit's major identities. In this case, in Henry Ford's case, you were talking about the auto identity. In the City of Champions, of course, our sports identity. And so imagine that nobody's ever heard of Henry Ford, and it's if we're sitting here talking about Henry Ford and trying to batter down, like going, there's this guy who created the entire concept of the Motor City, and nobody, like the newspapers don't want to give us a mention. We got a small, like I say, just because something is not known doesn't diminish its relevance or how incredible it is. It just means that people don't know about it, right? And so the question, which has been ongoing for this Detroit City of Champions project, is what will be the trigger that will bring this story back to put it to its position of prominence for which it deserves. And for you, the viewer, for you, the listener who's listening right now, it's us. And it's back. How'd you know I was going to say that?
No, I don't know.
You just guessed it?
No,
you felt the vibe, bro. You felt the energy.
I'm feeling it.
That's what I'm saying. And this is the reason I'm even mentioning all this is because when I say talk about these people in importance, we love these people. And we love you, the fans, and you, the listeners, anybody that's listening to this show. This is not me and Jamie just sitting up here, dreaming of making a buck off a podcast, right? Or anything like this. We are all part of this. Yes. Okay. Like it's another. I just want to mention this here. I was messaging back and forth with a guy who's listening to our Red Wings show. He's a big time Red Wings, early Red Wings junkie. His name is Andrew. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Borody. Andrew Borody. I was talking with him back and forth about early Red Wings history. I want to have him on the show. He's got some great insight on the early Red Wings history. But what I'm saying is, when I say I want to bring Andrew on the show, I'm not trying to have this isn't like, hey, we're just trying to fill space in the show. No, man, Andrew, you are if you're listening right now, you're part of this too. This story is not like Jamie and I story that we're just doing. We want everybody. We want this to be like this is a project for Detroit at large, right? So if it starts rolling and there's like all this stuff happening or whatever, man, I will step back. Seriously, I wrote these books to be a foundational element and to allow other people to do what they do, make movies, do these different things. Sure. I'm happy. I got so many other projects I'm working on.
I'm glad. And I'm glad people like Carolyn is listening. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Carolyn.
She's put a little thumbs up. There was a comment on, because this goes out on Facebook video, it goes on YouTube video, it goes audio on all the audio outlets. I don't know if I read this comment from YouTube, and it's like from Damon Gang1 on YouTube. It's like, hey, I'm David Moriarty's grandson, Dylan Moriarty. Right? Did I read this?
Yeah, read it. But what I'm saying is George Moriarty is one of our favorites.
Yeah.
We love George. We are the biggest George Moriarty fans that there is. And just a reminder to anybody listening, George Moriarty was the third baseman for the 1909 Tigers, and he basically got into a scrap with Ty. Like, he didn't actually fist fight with Cobb, but they nearly got into it. And he was actually the captain of the Tigers back in the Ty Cobb era. And when Ty Cobb left the Tigers, when Ty Cobb was the manager of the Tigers, and we left the Tigers, the Tigers hired George Moriarty to be the manager of the Tigers.
Okay.
And thereafter, Moriarty became an umpire for baseball and got numerous altercations with players and such. And then he became a film producer and produced the movie Play Ball, in which was the first Major League Baseball motion picture which we did an entire episode, 2 episodes on. And he was the guy that directed that movie. So he is a multi-talented. He was in everything. And he was also the manager of the 1935, or he was also the umpire in the 1935 World Series. And he ejected 5 Cubs players from the World Series because of some say because they were heckling Hank Greenberg, about his ethnicity. Some people say whatever other reason they were arguing with him. But in either case, he threw him out. He's one of our favorite people.
So this is from Dylan, the great grandson. All right, so I'm Dave Moriarty's grandson, Dylan Moriarty. My grandpa used to talk about this film, and that's the baseball film we were talking about.
You say he's his great grandson or his grandson?
He's Dave's grandson, so Dave is actually George's son.
Okay, I guess so. It's his grandson.
Yeah, great grandson.
Because when he says his grandpa talked about the movie,
right. So, Dave Moriarty, this kid's grandpa, was George's son.
Oh, I got you. Okay, got you. So George's son was talking about the movie.
Dylan here is a great grandson.
Okay, gotcha.
But he said, so I'm Dave's grandson. Mm-hmm. My grandpa talked about the film all the time when I was young, and this was the play ball, right? Yeah. I'm 32 now. I've always been curious to see if anyone would ever dig up my great-grandfather, George Moriarty. I'm so grateful and excited you guys are reliving the Renaissance man of baseball. Both of Dave's sons look a lot like George. My dad is the splitting image of George. It's insane. I know if my father had the opportunity to play organized sports growing up, he would have gone pro in anything he chose, especially baseball. So I wish it would be for James Franco or somebody to take notice of this first baseball movie with sound ever and revive it, along with casting a newer version with my dad playing George Moriarty. Anyway, thanks for sharing. I'd love to get my eyes on the short copy so I can watch it with the Moriarty family.
That would be amazing. Absolutely, yeah.
So,
No,
I told him, hey, hell yeah.
Let us know. Yeah,
Here's
well,
my
I
email.
told him. I
I
actually they messaged me and I told him I'd give him a DVD gratis. Okay. But I didn't hear this comment. I had not heard that. That's a great comment.
So this was just.
But again, the invitation's there. I got a copy for you
in
to
July.
send you. Yeah, and it's a phenomenal movie. And that's when we were doing the movie Play Ball when we were talking about it. The movie Play Ball is one of the the current production of Major League Baseball games would actually benefit a great deal by once again by learning from what they did in this original, because the way that they film when the pitcher throws the ball, they must be up on a ladder or something,
right?
Because in normal baseball, the ball, like, you can see the pitch from directly behind the pitcher's. It's slightly straight behind the pitcher, so you can see where the ball goes straight into the plate.
Sure.
But in this, it's looking over the pitcher's right shoulder. So it's just a little bit of a different angle, and I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really cool. You can see the movement of the ball really well. It's just an interesting, different, it's sort of a different angle.
We got to do a screening of that movie.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Not on Champions Day, just because. Or maybe we can do it on a Champions Day.
Yeah. We got the Historical Museum. We got a theater with the screen.
Yeah, we could do that and then talk about the movie. That might be a fun one for the next next Champions Day. We got merch.
Yeah, we got to mention this.
Wearingfunny.com. There's T-shirts,
and we do have some history to talk about. But
we're getting to billiards. We're playing.
If you're listening to this in the future, you're listening to just the next episode. But if you're listening in the present, it's been a week or so since we've done an episode, so we got a little catching up to do with some of the.
But we got merch. Wearingfunny.com.
Merch.
There's T-shirts at wearingfunny.com and other fun stuff. And then we got the cool. Blazing the sticker. It's a nice
good size sticker.
And then there's buttons.
Yep.
So the stickers and the buttons, if you're in the Metro Detroit area,
come see me at the
available
12 Oaks Mall
at the stores.
Yep. The store is called Inspire Marketplace, and we have a store at 12 Oaks Mall and also a store at Partridge Creek in Clinton Township.
We can do a soupy sales, and if you're not in the Metro Detroit area, go to your mom and dad's purse and grab $1. Remember,
is that what they said? I don't remember.
Soupy Sales gotten all
Sales,
kinds of...
I've heard the name, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in Detroit. Keep in mind, I grew up in Kalamazoo. I'm from Kalamazoo, so I didn't. I don't know.
All right. Anybody who's listening who's as old as me and older.
Sales. I have no idea what we're talking about here.
No, but he did this thing, and he was like, "All right, go to your parents and pull out the green pieces of paper and email and not email, but mail them to me, Soupy Sales at the." He was telling the kids to steal the money and mail it to him at the TV station. He got in trouble for that.
Oh, nothing
but
wrong
if you don't live in the Metro Detroit area and you can't make it out because the stickers and the buttons are only available in person, the T-shirts are available wearingfunny.com. We'll figure out a way.
We got to get, the next
folks.
thing we're going to put out is the stencil so you can get it tattooed.
Oh, yeah.
So you take the stencil to the tattoo parlor and they will tattoo it. That's the next
episode.
Thing
that's what we're doing for episode 200 is I'm going to get this tattooed.
Are you really?
Tattoo parlor episode 200.
Jamie, that show will break the internet, bro. That will break the internet.
I'm going to write it right on the bottom lower back. I'm going to get it as a tramp stamp right on the bottom of my back.
That episode will break the internet. It will be viral. It will be. They're like, Jamie Flanagan's getting just City of Champions blazing tattooed on him. That will.
No, I'm concerned because I got my family coat of arms and
you got to get the other one.
The other one might be cool. We got merch and Charles, we got trouble. We got trouble. It's a capital T, rhymes with P, stands for pool.
Hit me. What's up?
That's
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's from the Music Man. I'm quoting show tune lyrics to you. Well, billiards, pool, billiards.
Oh, okay.
We got trouble.
I thought you
right
said
here
there was.
in River
I thought
City.
I thought you said there was somebody that was saying that we didn't pronounce somebody's name right or something.
Yeah, no, poop.
What was the name? I want to know. I'm curious.
I don't know. I got to look it up. But
well, let me just say like
I'm
this.
Show tunes here.
Okay,
for Christ's sake.
Just sing it in just 1 second. I just want to say this. From the very beginning, we have made no secret that if there is a historical mistake that we make on this show, if we list a wrong date, right? If we use some kind of a wrong, such and such, that I have no problem making corrections. I absolutely no problem. By no means would I ever state or even assume or anything that I know everything. Right. I know. Like when it comes to this story, I know a lot. I've spent 13 years studying it. Right. And so if there's like some kind of a, pronunciation or whatever, I'm curious to know what it is.
Andrew Brody.
What did he say?
Did you know who Andrew Brody?
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned him. He's one of the, I just said he's like family on the show now. Like we don't want to bring him onto the show just like this. Like anybody that's rolling with us is like part of this endeavor.
Kilray. We're saying Kilray.
Oh, okay.
Kilrea. It's actually should be Kilray.
And here's the thing, Andrew, just to respond to that, I have heard that before. I have heard that the name that the pronunciation is Kilray. However,
McLaughlin.
So here's the thing: I had heard that before, but I had never sort of heard it as a definitive. Like somebody had mentioned it to me and said, "Hey, that name is pronounced Kilray." But at the time when I heard it, the name is so unique. And it's spelled Kilrea.
Yeah, Kilrea. Is that what we were saying?
Kilrea, yeah.
Kilray.
And so here's the thing.
And McLaughlin, he said we were saying McLaughlin.
So let me so the thing is that when I say heck Kilrea.
He said you guys are a bunch of hacks. What are you even doing on the air? Get it right, you stupid turds. No, he didn't say that at all.
I don't think
he said I'm absolutely loving the podcast.
I invited him on this show. Andrew's gonna come on the show.
He said love the podcast.
Yeah.
But
I should have played ignorant and been like, "That son of a bitch, I'm gonna do him up," right? Run that when he comes out here. But I'll say it like this: I have heard that is how the correct pronunciation for
Brian Kilray is in the Hockey Hall of Fame
for the two Kilray brothers, and I say Kilray because when we were using Kilrea, all right, I say it like this simply for. It was sort of an either-or decision. Like I'd heard that was the name. In my brain, the word Kilrea, it's phonetically pronounced Kilrea, and I've never seen that name anywhere else except for in use with this family of hockey-playing brothers, which I think there was 4 of them when that went to the NHL. Of course, one of our, besides Heck, who was a major contributor to the Red Wings and a star before he even arrived, you had Wally, which was like one of my favorite players. Yeah. He's a total scrapper. And so that being the case, this is the second time I've heard that.
Sure.
And Andrew, like I have such a respect for his knowledge of the early Detroit Red Wings history.
He might
be I will say it right now with absolute certainty that from now on, anytime that Heck, Wally, or Ken, I believe their other brother's name was, anytime that we talk about the Kilray brothers or either of those names, from now on, that will be how I pronounce the name.
I'm still saying Kilrea. I'm still going to say Kilrea.
You're one of those guys that goes against the grain. But when Andrew gets on the show and he's rolling with us on the show, you're leaving yourself open.
How big is he?
I don't know.
All right.
But you're leaving yourself open from a barrage of assaults from me and Andrew.
It's all right.
So so the thing is,
but
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
we appreciate
Aaron,
the comment. And like I say, I believe you are correct, and as such, I'm going to modify our pronunciation of the Kilrays, and so that is how we shall say it.
There's a few comments from Chris in here, Chris Barima, and then there's Elmer Brown commented. And then Andrew. So thank you guys for leaving comment. And again, so yeah, like I said, when we say leave a comment, we read them and we reply to them.
Yeah,
so thank you.
We really appreciate every engagement. Like I say.
So, but as I mentioned, we have trouble.
Yes,
right
we
here
do, Jamie. Yes,
in River City, a capital T that rhymes with P and it stands for pool.
Yes.
All right.
Now I get it. Now I'm flowing with you, bro.
Now you're
I
with
get
me.
it, and now we're flowing.
I'm gonna start singing a Surrey with the fringe on top here in a second.
Don't take it too far because I'm rolling with you now. Don't lose me, bro. Don't lose me.
So actually, we were in. It was funny. Colleen and I were singing show tunes a little bit.
Hold on a second. What?
Yeah, so we were down in Nashville, and then so we're doing like some of the tours. We're doing a couple of historic sites, and there's this place called Belle Meade, which is a horse ranch, but they also do wines and they have a whiskey.
Now I'm understand a little
Belle
bit
Meade
more.
whiskey.
Yeah. You guys got a couple whiskeys.
So yeah.
You could
But
show
it was a horse ranch, and so they had a lot of carriages, and then they had like very historical carriages, and there was a Surrey with the fringe on top, and we were singing Surrey with the fringe on top. The horse.
What is this song from? I've never heard of that.
The Surrey from the fringe on top is Oklahoma.
Oh, from the musical.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Trouble is from the Music Man.
I just never seen them.
76,
so I didn't,
76 trombones.
Okay, I get you. There's a couple times that the Oklahomas come up and I've never watched
kids are playing pool.
it.
We're going to solve the kids playing pool. We're going to put him in a band, and because he's a traveling salesman selling instruments.
All right. No, now I get it. Okay, now I get that.
There you go.
I've never seen either of those. So that's
when
why I
we
didn't
do
get
the play
reference.
ball screening, we're going to screen the Music Man right after it.
Are we?
No, probably not.
No.
I like that movie though. We could.
I've never seen. I'll go take a look. I'll go
right.
take a look.
It's a good movie.
In the
If you're
meantime,
into musicals, but
got a
so
little
all right,
history to
so
get to.
pool.
the people don't tune in to listen to us jabber, or maybe they do.
I don't know.
I like to think they do.
I hope
Like
so.
like I say, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
I know.
We're kind of we're just hanging out, chilling, talking,
But-
engaging with the fan. Engaging with the listeners
Yes.
as much as possible. But we like to do a little history on this history show.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's pool, pool,
Yeah.
billiards.
Well-
more specifically, billiards. Billiards is more. There's no pockets in billiards, is there? It's all bumpers. You got to do 3 bumpers and.
Well,
there's what the hell?
No, they got pockets.
What
Like,
the hell
don't they have the they got 3, 6, 8 pockets in billiards, don't they?
billiards,
And pool, right?
pool, and billiards are different.
Oh man, I need to go back and study a little bit more. I screwed it up. I don't know.
Well, no, everything you said.
I got
everything
the
you
history
sent,
here, but
everything you said, everything you sent, has said billiards.
Yes.
I brought pool into the mix because I wanted to sing show tunes.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So, but billiards, I'm
When you're talking billiards-
I'm 90% sure billiards is a bumper game.
I know what you're talking about. And here's the thing: like, I didn't do my homework on this.
But we do know. We didn't go into the history on this. We know.
We got the guy. I got
Jake
the
is
history
a
on
champion.
who. Yeah, I'm going to read off the article.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Jake Ankrom.
Yeah.
But as far as like going, like a lot
The
of times we're
rules
like,
of billiards.
see, that's where I'm now
And
we're in trouble.
and the finesse
I'm in
of billiards,
trouble. I have
of
no
whether or
idea.
not there's pockets or not.
I don't know.
That's kind of a big thing.
I don't know. We're I don't know.
Let's gloss over that.
Yeah, let's just
no
move
one will
on.
notice.
Let's move past that.
All right,
one
move
part
right
of the
along.
story. But I will say,
1935
I will
amateur
say,
billiard champion.
I will say
from Detroit.
I will say that a little billiard story that I have, a pool story.
Okay.
Is that a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine named Gareth Bohan.
All right.
And his name, we call him Giggs. He's a very good friend of mine. In fact, he calls my mom his English or his American mom. He's from Ireland. This dude's a straight. This Giggs is one of my very best friends in the world.
All right.
And Giggs is an amazing pool player.
Okay.
Right. He's like this. He's the kind of guy. It's like I say. He's like straight. He's like almost like a. He's like a stereotypical Irishman.
Uh-huh.
Drink anybody under the table.
Yeah.
He's a
Hey,
gambler.
hey,
right?
hey,
I used to go to him before gambling became legal in the States. Like the guy. I mean, he is a dear friend of mine.
Right.
But he's the kind of guy when he was over here, he stayed with me for like 3 months while I was writing when I was writing the first book. He stayed with me. In fact, I think I owe him $200 from when I was working on the first book.
Oh crap! Do I still owe money?
But here's the thing: is that so he's the kind of guy. And this is a quick story, right? It's a quick aside. I don't. Okay, let's say it like this: I don't have the history of billiards. I don't have the history of
40 minutes
pool.
in on the side. We keep going.
So what?
Go ahead.
So, anyways, so this is my little history of billiards and pool, my own history. So Giggs, we went into this. There's a bar in Port Huron called the Roach Bar.
Okay.
All right. And you go into this place, and if my memory serves correct, there's one pool table. It's like at the time, I don't know if it's improved now. This is like 10 years ago or more, maybe like 14 years ago. But at the time, it was like kind of like there's like different bars, like the nice bar in the Strip, and then there's a bar over here, and then there's like different kind of bars. And this was the bar that like was like the one outlaw bar of like the city.
Nice.
Right? So it's kind of like
That's
it's
where
almost
you
like
wanna go.
It's almost like a biker bar.
That's where you want to be.
Yeah. And so anyways, and you go in there, there's like one pool table. So you have to be good to be on this table. You're not going to go on, like, I'm not, like, I can play pool just for the fun of it, but I'm going to get destroyed if I play against anybody of any significant talent.
Right, yeah.
And so anyways, Giggs, he's on this table just running it. Running this table all evening. He's just
like Beyonce, just running it. Running the world.
Destroying one person after another. And I'm like, man, it is awesome to have, like, you're in this bar and you're just having drinks and your friend is just destroying all comers, right? And you're just like laughing.
Keep playing them for drinks. Keep playing them for drinks.
Until this one random comes in and he's like talking all this crap, right? Like he's just like, I'm the best around, blah, 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 whatever. And Giggs,
did he play jazz music?
No, Giggs lost to this guy. He lost to him, and I'm like, "What are you doing?
I'm here for you,
You could have
Ricky
destroyed
Bobby.
this guy in your sleep." And he was like, "Yeah, but the guy was drunk and acting aggressive." I'm like, "Man, like I like."
Oh, so he threw the game just to
I don't want
avoid...
to accuse him of tanking the game. I'm just saying that I was like, "Don't ever," like I was like. I just that's like, and I hate to have that story be the ending of that of this moment. But what I'm saying is like Giggs is an amazing pool player, and I said, don't you ever like not play to the maximum capacity that you ever are again. But I mean, to be fair though, he might have I think he did us a favor that night because this guy was it was kind of like one of those situations where who cares this drunken idiot thinks he's the best guy in the bar, it means that we're not going to have to deal with, some, because I've been in a couple of like, where you have like a bar fight where there's glasses hitting girls in the face and stuff like this. And it's just,
Not
sometimes
good.
it's just best to avoid that. So, so you might be right in that sort of moment. But.
Yeah, but billiards, and we have one of the
and I love you, Giggs. I didn't mean to end that story. It's just like, he didn't throw games. There was no money on the table or anything, so.
Way to take a dive there, Giggs. All right, so who do we have? Who was our billiard player? Because I don't want to say his name wrong.
Jake Ankrom. That's how I'm saying it. Is there if there's a better pronunciation? Yeah. Let us hear about it as usual. We'll correct
say it, and then Andrew get all up in my grill. So
no, he's not going to do that. I don't think Andrew has ever heard of Jake Ankrom.
All right, so Jake Ankrom.
Very few have.
He's the amateur billiards champion
of the United States.
Of the United States.
Yeah.
All right.
So continuing with our variety of championships. Again, the claim that we make is you have the 3 major champions and 30 other minor champions, and those don't include Joe Louis. So if you include Joe, which I say was the greatest individual season in American sport history, among this number, you're talking about 34 different elements. And then, Chris found a 34.
34.
Yeah, which I wasn't even aware of. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to dive into
We're gonna have to add that in.
These.
We'll bring Chris on the show to add his, to bring in that information.
I'd love to get Chris in the studio.
Yeah, well, in the studio, of course, he lives in Grand Rapids, but I'm just saying, at the very least, he's
get his butt over here.
Yeah, well, tell him that.
Come on, Chris.
He's probably listening now.
Get over here.
So, anyways,
we'll give you a sticker.
So, anyways, yeah, so
we'll give you a sticker that you designed.
Yeah, that he designed. Thanks. So anyways, yes, no, we got to talk about that extra championship. But anyway, what I'm saying is that when you make the claim that Detroit's got 3 major champions and then 30 minor championships on top of it, their question immediately emerges like, are there even 30 other sports?
Yeah.
Where are these other?
Is that a real sport?
Yeah. Well,
is that a real sponsor?
Well, of course. Well, the National 3-Cushion Billiards Championship is.
I was looking. I was trying to find information on him, and I found the rankings for the billiard champions from 1930 through like 1960, 64 or something, and some of the purses back in the 1930s were like $6,000.
Yeah, I mean, pool's a game. That's one of those games where there's money involved and there's people watching. And
I don't
know.
I don't know what Jake won because
let me read the article. So we'll give the listen. Let me just hit this article because because I read it already and I feel like I'm like sitting here talking about somebody that the viewer doesn't even know what we're talking about. So we got a couple images of Jake Ankrom. Really, it's just the same picture. There's a couple different variations.
So that $6,000 from 1935 today would be about $130,000.
Jeez.
And this is like Depression time. So, all right. So that was the size of the purse. These are $100,000 purses. For these championships. All right, go ahead.
So this is the main article I have about Jake Ankrom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a Detroit Times article by Burt Walker dated February 28th, 1936. So here's the article. Like Joe Louis, another young Detroiter has leaped into fame from practical obscurity with the suddenness of a comet. He is Jake Ankrom, a barber who has just won the National Amateur Three-Cushion Billiard title and who will represent the United States in the World's Amateur Tournament in New York starting April 9th. By virtue of his triumph in the national tournament, he has become the #1 amateur of America. Until his surprising victory, he was not recognized as having a chance against the veterans who played in the tournament of the recreation. He lost the first game and his stock fell with a sickening thud. However, that was the only game he lost, winning the next 6 consecutively and becoming the nation's outstanding amateur cueist. So the success of the comparatively unknown is the more remarkable in the young man was competing in his first national tourney and was pitted against some of the greatest players in the country. He also has another peculiar angle to his career. He began to play three-cushion billiards without ever having played the simple game of straight rail. He began at the top instead of the bottom, electing to play the most difficult type of billiards without having a background in elemental billiards. And this is Jake Ankrom's quote, "I used to watch three-cushion players in action and was amazed at their skill and accuracy," he said. "I determined to learn the game in my spare time just for the fun of playing without any thought of ever becoming champion. And now I am glad I took it up. I will do the best I can to bring the world title to Detroit in April." After the barber progressed far enough so he could play a passable game with friends who were far from being top-notchers, he decided to take some lessons. First, he took a course of lessons from Fred Wagner, and later he took a course with Clarence Jackson, once national three-cushion champion. And this is Jake Ankrom again. "These experts had different styles of play," says the new champ, "and I first learned the Wagner style and then the Jackson style. I put them together and produced the Ankrom style, which has been successful. I have been playing at the three-cushion game for only 3 years." The new title holder says he has no ambition at present to become a professional, though his work thus far indicates it will not be long until he becomes a fitting opponent for most of the pros. His best game in the tournament just finished went 61 innings, a very good score, considering that these amateurs specialize in safety play.
So
that's what I got.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So billiards, there are no pockets in billiards.
Is there not?
No, it's the big rectangular table.
Yeah.
It's not. There's bumper pool, which has the little.
What's the objective of the game?
It's you have a cue ball, your opponent has a cue ball, and then there's a series of red balls on the table, and you're hitting the balls, and you ricochet, and it's like you have to hit 3.
You got to hit 3 cushions.
You have to There's 3 cushion. You have to hit some of them. You have to hit 3 cushions before you hit your opponent's ball. And you have to hit your opponent's ball before you hit the other ball. And so it's the number of cushions you hit, hitting your opponent's cue ball, and then hitting other balls intentionally.
Yeah.
Me, I'm a hit it hard, wish it well kind of pool player.
And now that you mention it, we used to go play pool.
Hit it hard, wish it well.
We used to go play pool back in the
slop.
day. And I think I remember walking
I'm all about it.
I think I remember walking to pool halls and seeing those guys play those crazy billiard games.
That's serious.
And being
business
like,
over
I'm
there.
not even in that. Like,
All
I'm
right,
just going to walk past that
All right,
group.
math boy.
Yeah, like I'm going to go play like regular pool.
I can't even do the whole 16. Give me 9 ball. Let's get it down to 9. Let's get Right.
And let these guys over here, which are like these crazy, like doing some crazy stuff, I'm going to let them just kind of
you got to hit bumpers and hit your opponent's ball and then with the difficulty in the angles is the points vary, and that's how that works.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's what Jake Ankrom.
That was a definitive,
and that's what Jake Ankrom won his his American title. And I was looking to see if he won the Worlds, but I didn't. I don't think he did because they would have mentioned something else.
So that's a nice picture of Jake there. That's from the paper.
That's from the City of Champion. The Champions Day newspaper.
Okay.
So Jake Ankrom was featured in that Champion. That was a big picture in that newspaper. He was there.
Yeah.
So they featured him on the Champions Day newspaper. Which, yeah, you can hit that one. Hit that Champions Day newspaper because the first. So he is on there. Where is he at on that one?
This isn't he's not on this one.
Yes, he is. He is.
Oh, is it just a
small little vignette on there?
All right, so just
where's he at on there?
It's not him shooting pool. It's not.
No, he's sharpening up a billiard cue. Maybe. Yes, he is. He's on there. I just don't see him. Where's he at? Right in the middle, right in the dead center, right next to Eddie Tolan to the left.
Oh, okay.
There he is, sharpening his pools. Yeah, so he's on the city. He's on the City of Champions.
He doesn't look young. He's all the
he
things
said he's a young barber.
But he doesn't look young in any of these pictures.
They say he's a young Detroit barber.
He doesn't look
so he's a
young.
barber.
Yeah.
Well, they had different age, kind of like when you look at women back then, like the girl in their 30s was looking like their 50s. Did I say that out loud or was I just thinking?
A little bit. That is Charles at cityofchampions.com. Send your mail to Charles at cityofchampions.com.
Conversely, women that are mad at that statement, women in their 50s today are looking like in their 30s. Yeah. So there you go.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. What do we know about these pictures? Because you had a couple, and there's like additional versions of the pictures.
So I was just pointing. I wanted to bring this. I put this on the slide because what I've got here is.
So if people are listening to the audio version, it's again. This is the picture from the Champions Day.
Yes.
And then it's from some archive as well.
Yeah, this is a Detroit Library archive. This is part of the Ernie Harwell collection. And what they had, I was just kind of looking online as I do as I'm putting the notes together. In the Detroit Public Library, the Ernie Harwell archive has the original photo from that newspaper that they used for Champions or for the City of Champions newspaper. And so what's interesting about this photo, besides the fact that it's original, I got the little tag and like the reference numbers and stuff at the bottom. But what's interesting about this photo is that they have the full photo of him.
It's not cropped.
Yeah, they have the little white chalk line where they cut it for the newspaper.
Oh, I was wondering what that.
And then the rest are like, this is where we're using this image. Like whoever took the photo to like crop it here. But with this photo, you can actually see the rest of his shoulder.
Right.
And it's not like some monumental thing.
Sure.
I just thought it was kind of interesting that like here's the original photo without the crop. So it's just kind of cool. There's kind of linking two moments in
not
history.
Newsweek and OJ or anything, but
no,
that's where the photo is cropped.
Yeah, that's the photo crop. What do you guys expecting from me, man? We're talking billiards. I mean, I love billiards. It's one of my favorite sports.
All right, and then this one, the second one, this is from another archive?
Yeah, well, this is from a newspaper. I didn't even see what newspaper it's from. I didn't see the tagline for the newspaper, but this was an article from April 2nd, 1936 that talks about the idea that Jake Ankrom is headed to that he'd won this national championship. And so it's dated April 2nd, 1936. And this is the little tagline in the article. It says, Jacob Ankrom, a Detroit barber who won the National Amateur Three-Cushion Billiard title in that city from a field of veterans. Ankrom, who took the game up only 7 years ago, did not become a Class A player until last year, and his victory came as something of an upset. And so what's interesting about this little newspaper photo is it's the exact same newspaper photo we just showed.
It's the same photo, yeah.
So this is a newspaper in California reporting on Jake Ankrom.
Rip and read.
There's this. That's like say that there's the original Ernie Harwell photo, which was used in the City of Champions newspaper.
Yep.
And then that same photo got all the way out to California and was used for an article out there.
And they had used it on the big spread.
Yeah. So that was the main photo that was like clipped of him. And then
I like this one that I had up earlier.
There you go. Yeah. So this photo you're looking at here for the first time on the internet.
He's like leaning.
He's
over
ready
the
to
table.
Yeah, he's ready to win
lining
a
up a shot.
man.
This is very, very cool.
It's a great
him
shot.
in action. Yep.
Yeah, this is an action shot of Jake Ankrom. So I'm saying, like, for the first time since really 1936, since the, besides in the book, of course, this is the first time on the internet that this photo is being seen. It's Jake Ankrom in action, right? He's ready to win himself a championship here. So this is he's got his shirt, his jacket rolled up. He's ready to do some damage.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great shot too. That's why I wanted to throw it in there. But this is like pretty much the only other picture we have of Jake Ankrom. So
because I searched, I was searching, trying to pull some. I probably should have pulled down the rules of billiards, or the history of billiards.
Yeah, that would.
I thought I had a history of billiards, but it was just
we'll probably have
a history of statistics.
Maybe we'll have
winners.
maybe I'll have Giggs calling the show, or maybe he's listening to the show or something. Maybe Giggs can give us a little bit of history, because Giggs is and maybe that wasn't the best story to tell in retrospect, but because Giggs is a friggin' champion. I've seen Giggs dominate pool halls, man. And I just mentioned the loss because it still shocks me to this day, because I've seen him just destroy people. We worked together on Mackinac Island.
Diver Joe.
We worked together on Mackinac Island, and I used to watch him absolutely just annihilate every single person. And I'm still maybe suffering from some kind of shock from watching him lose that game that one night at that pool hall, and I'm still in shock. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to dog him. I love Giggs to death, but I'm still in shock. Man, he is an awesome player, and I haven't seen him in a long time. I would love to see him dominate some people again. But that being said, if anybody out there fancies themselves a ace pool player, it would like to arrange a championship, like a tournament match with Giggs involved.
That's it.
Throw some cash to getting Giggs a plane ticket over here from England, and we'll set some shit.
Perfect.
Up,
All right. Yeah. So, all right. Another one of the champions in the books. I'm enjoying this.
We got a bunch more to go.
Yep. And there's more to come.
And Jake Ankrom's, like I say, he's. Once again, people are like, is there enough sports for 30 championships? Well, you decide for yourself.
There are.
We're going over them every show, every episode. There's another one here.
Yep.
And we're gonna have more to go. And if we run out, we can talk about the national. There's a homing pigeon champion, which isn't even factored into the number.
We got to go back to we got to go back to baseball too.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do a long form Detroit Tiger history, because we didn't. That was the first segment we talked about.
We were just getting our legs.
Yeah, we were just getting our legs, and we covered the Tigers in a week. We could spend months talking about the Tigers, and we will. Yeah, we will.
We'll dive
that's gonna be
deep in the Tigers. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, and I would think I think that's something we're going to tackle in the new year. I think from the early new year, that's when I'm really.
We got plenty to get us through the year.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, all the podcast things, all the podcast places. But seriously, thank you for listening. Tell a friend. Share it with somebody.
And again, we're all part of this, man. We're trying to bring back this. This is not This is not my story. This is not Jamie's story. This is all of our story.
If you have a connection to the story, or something magnificent from Detroit sports, share it with us. We'd love to hear about it for sure. And so there you go. We'll do it again very, very soon. It's the website is Detroit City of Champions.
Are you going to tell them next week we're doing a show?
No, I said very soon.
Time
is relative.
That's true, because if you're just listening to this, if you're just binge listening,
it's like Andrew for them, it's just joined the party. He's like, I got 100 shows to catch up on.
That's true. What I'm saying,
people find us whenever.
I know, but we got to
we'll be back again soon.
Thank you, Jamie.
That's how I go.
We shall return. Yes, live from the Death Star.
Yeah, that's how the studio's looking sharp. The video.
I love it. I absolutely love it, dude. It is, and it feels.
Takes me a couple more minutes.
This isn't just some crazy CGI on the screen. We are in the Death Star. This is we have blue all around us. It's dark in here. This is what I mean. This is the right now. We might not have the Imperial Death March or the Imperial March as our opening theme song, but it is playing in my head right now.
That is it. All right. Wearingfunny.com. You can get the Detroit City of Champions shirts there. The stickers and the buttons available at Partridge Creek.
And 12 Oaks Mall.
12 Oaks Mall.
Inspire Marketplace. Come on in, talk to me. Let's talk some City of Champions talk baseball.
Or if you're dying to get one, just email us.
Let's talk gold and silver. Let's talk crypto. Let's talk about whatever, man. I sit there and
we'll mail you. We'll mail you.
I shouldn't even be telling that because I don't like people bothering me when I'm working. I'm always busy with work, and I don't want to. Don't come in there.
Go in there. Talk to them all the time.
No, there's a marketing strategy. Real quick before you cut us off. I know you hooked me last episode, but don't hook me this time. Don't hook me. Don't keep the hook.
Go ahead.
There's an episode of South Park, okay, in which Cartman buys a theme park, and he inherits $1 million from some long lost relative, right? And he already knows what he's going to do. He buys this theme park, and the owner of the theme park goes at the last second as he's selling, going, "I can't sell you this theme park. I can't do it. I can't." In all honesty, this theme park's been losing money for years. And Cartman says, "Well, that's not a problem because I don't want to bring in any fan. I don't want to bring in any riders. I bought it so I could ride it myself because I hate lines.
Hate lines, yeah.
Right. That's it. And so when he
How does this tie?
So he goes into the, so he buys the theme park and he's riding the rides, having the time of his life. And in the meantime, there's this massive crowd outside of the gates trying to get in, right? And so now, like, over the course of the show, the theme park is like the most coveted ticket there is.
Yeah.
He's got to let one person in to pay for a security guard.
Yeah.
He's got to let one more person in to pay for the maintenance of the.
And next thing you know, the park is jammed.
Eventually, yes. But the thing is that all the media, like all like the stock market, like analysts and that, like on the TV, they're going, Cartman, this boy from South Park is a genius because he invented this marketing strategy of you can't come here, like you're not allowed here. And so people want like what they can't have or whatever. So so that concept in mind, I'm sitting there saying, don't come up to the mall.
Don't go to Charles.
Don't come up to the mall and talk to me.
Not allowed to talk to
Don't
Charles.
come up there and talk City of Champions stuff. Don't talk baseball analytics or history or anything like this. Certainly don't talk about gold, silver, crypto, stocks. Don't come up there and do all that. Just
all right.
Don't.
We're going to do it all again very, very soon. DetroitCityOfChampions.com is the website. And then wearingfunny.com. And then, tell a friend. And thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time on Detroit, the City of Champions.